You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, J.D. Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD. With me, I have Nicole Hale and Chris Triplett. Chris McFeely is on location at the blue side of the moon. So, or Mars? I don't know. Where's the, whatever it is that's in outer space that people can hang out? The moon. It's the moon that has a...
What?
Isn't it Marvel? Is it Marvel that has like the blue side of the moon or something where it's like you don't have to breathe?
Yeah, it's the Inhumans, you mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about the Inhumans?
I guess so.
Yeah.
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 See? That's where he's hanging out. He's on assignment.
It's whatever side of the moon where like Ryu from Street Fighter and Cyclops can fight on it, because they did. I played the video game.
That's totally the wrong music, but it's the only one I knew, so I went with it.
I thought you were going to actually turn McFeely into one of the Sailor Moon characters for a second
That
there.
would be awesome. You think he'll cosplay that? No? Okay.
McFeely, do it.
So,
Okay, I'm thinking of Sailor Moon now, but with like a 5 o'clock shade.
Welcome to Tumblr. God, I think, what was it last week that Chris McFeely said that he turned into Tumblr when he was talking about he thought two characters hooked up? I about died. I've been thinking about that all week. I'm like, that's the best line ever. Why can't I think of stuff like that? Anyway, so since Chris McFeely is not here, the news falls to me, and the only thing of interest that I really want to talk about is, or that I would even know about, is creator musical chairs over at DC, because we love digging on DC in terms of like their editorial and creative teams with crazy stuff going on there. And these like blew up the Twitters and the interwebs and the things that people talk with each other on. Because first up,
That's not a phone?
that's not a phone, but is a smartphone, because you do the Twitters and the Tumblrs on the smartphone. So anyway, okay, first thing is like way early in the week, like almost right after we did the show last week, it was announced that Andy Diggle was walking off of Action Comics.
But wait a minute. His first issue hasn't come out yet, JD. What's going on?
I know, right? Like, the last issue of Morrison just came out, and he said something about creative differences. As far as I know, we don't have a real solid thought or reason as to why Diggle left. So it seems a little strange. I don't know. It seems like the next arc is kind of mostly done, or at least it's done enough, because guess what? Tony Daniel's taking over. That's right, kids. He's going to be doing art and writing for the rest of the arc. Now, I assume that means that they'll get a new creator, starting with whatever the next arc is going to be. I don't know how long the arc is going to be, whether it's going to be like a 3 or 6 story arc. But yeah.
This is really sad, because like I was telling you, I was reading Wonder Woman, and I guess with all the DC books, they've got a preview in the back of them for the new Action Comics by Andy Diggle, and it's like they're making a big deal out of it.
Oh, yeah. They're trying. They were trying, man. And
I'm looking at my Justice League. They have 7 pages of a preview and ads for it.
Yeah.
So.
And it looks kind of neat, too, because like they got the whole thing where, you know, Superman's like, I don't like bullies, you know. I'm here to protect, not to provoke. I didn't throw the first punch, but I'll throw the last. I was like, yeah, this sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen, I guess.
Well, I mean, that story is, essentially is going to happen. It's just, not with Diggle. So it's kind of weird. I mean, he just said for creative differences, so he didn't really elaborate. He's got a lot of the other stuff going on, too, I think. So that's a little strange. And we're like, oh, wow, well, that's crazy. Then, like, not a day or two later, Joshua Hale, I am going to butcher this last name, Fialkov, I think he's the oncoming writer for Red Lanterns and for Green Lantern Corps, basically does the same thing. He
Wow.
walks off both of those books. And, so...
Wait, are you sure that DC's just not on a diet and they're just taking walks? They're not just...
Right, like
out?
it's an exercise program for their creators.
Yeah.
You spend too much time sitting and writing, so we're gonna make you walk, fatties. No. This is actually leaving their books. So, now, the interesting thing with this is he basically said the same thing. He cited creative differences. That he was going to leave and blah, 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 whatever. So, of course, the speculation began, well, why? Why is he leaving the book? And a day or so later, I mean, the rumors started to hit that apparently, allegedly, they were wanting to kill off Jon Stewart.
I think I heard about this. I heard something, but I didn't know if maybe it happened already in Core, because I haven't been getting Core.
No. So, yeah, so, again, allegedly, they were pressuring him to kill off Jon Stewart for some reason. Editorial was. And he said, F you know, and walked off the book. Now, the oncoming writer is, I can't pronounce his name, it's Violetti, the guy that was writing Exo Man of War for, was it Dynamite, or one of the other...
You're talking about the new Exo, not like...
Yeah, the new Exo Man of War.
I have no idea. I don't know who publishes it now.
Venditti, Robert Venditti, he's the oncoming for, they're putting him on... Green Lantern Corps, and then Charles Soule for Red Lantern. So they actually split that up. But so Robert is going to be doing the work on Corps. Now he's saying that he's not killing off Jon Stewart, and that DC now doesn't have DC doesn't have plans to kill off Jon Stewart. And so it's sort of the deal was like, well, of course you don't now.
Yeah.
You know. Of course you're not going to now, because that would have been an awful idea. I don't know. It's
what is going on with DC Comics? I mean,
it's
not sounding good for DC Comics when your creators are like walking before their first issue comes out. I mean, Marvel. I hate to say it, but Marvel's doing it right. You know, Marvel now seems to be working, but what is going on with DC? I mean,
I don't know. It's interesting. It's like they really don't. Somewhere along the line, they just don't have a. They don't have a unified vision. You know, that's an organizational. That's a leadership issue. You know, when any organization, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a play or comic books or a company or whatever. When you don't have leadership with a clear vision that's able to disseminate that vision. Down the line and make sure like there's alignment all the way through. This is the kind of stuff that happens because you've got editors, on the low end that are just doing this crazy stuff, and then you're not getting back around. It's not getting back up. There's not clear lines of communication. It doesn't seem like. I mean, just like the fact that they were gonna. I mean, think about the fact that a few months ago we were talking about that they were. Firing Gail Simone off of Batgirl.
Yeah.
Like that's even any kind of smart thing to do,
I mean, that's a clear way to kill that book and cancel that book, is get rid of the one person that makes you want to buy the book.
Well, and kill the relationship, because there's such a relationship between Gail and her fans. It was just not done in a proper way. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you don't have clear vision and clear dissemination of ideas. I don't know if it's Andy Diggle or it's farther up the line, but man, they have got to get this fixed. I mean, you can't put out quality work if your creators don't feel comfortable creating.
Yeah, and they really need a good creative team on the Superman books, because, like we were talking, the Superman creative team, after Grant Morrison, is really sad. I mean, there's a movie coming up, for God's sakes. I mean, you need your top talent on Superman books. You need to take advantage of this situation and, sell some comics, for God's sakes. I don't know what the sales are for Superman, but they can't be good because the book's not good.
Yeah, they have really put all of their chips on, in terms of Batman the last several years.
Yeah.
And, that
Remember, when did we count? It was like the New 52 and the majority was the Bat family.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, like 25 to 30% or more were somehow related to the Bat family.
I think it was around 30%, wasn't it? It was like 17.
Yeah, it was like 17 titles out of the 52. Yep. So, or related in some way, but
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know. It's speculation. The whole Jon Stewart thing could be not true. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that that's not true.
Well, they got a lot of Green Lanterns, like major, the main character Green Lanterns, not like the core.
There's 4 Earth-based Green Lanterns though right now, so I don't
kind of makes sense. I mean, because literally,
yeah. Well, there's 3.
Because you got John, you got Kyle, you got 4. Guy, and you got Hal, right? Yep. And then you got the other guy. You got what's his name? That's in the regular book. That's
what I'm saying. You got 4 total. You've got Boz, you've got Hal, you've got John, and you've got Guy. So and Kyle. So yeah, I guess you've got 5. Holy hell, you've got too many. So
it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I mean, because like,
but why aren't we killing off? But kill off Guy. That's going to have a big effect. And
if they killed off Guy, well, I'm not getting the book. Well, let's say that I was buying Green Lantern Corps and they killed off Guy, I'd drop the book. I'm just saying.
Well, if you had a choice between killing Guy or killing John, I mean, would you just drop it if either of them? Or, I mean...
If they killed off John, no, I probably wouldn't. Because one of the reasons I was getting Green Lantern Corps was because Guy Gardner was in it.
Well, that's because
Guy.
That's because you're racist.
And I have a personal connection with this new guy, with Simon, because I think he's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we need more gun-toting Green Lanterns.
I mean, I would still be.
I love the gun-toting Green Lanterns.
I would still be getting Green Lantern Corps if I, had the money. But man, like, I had to drop some stuff, and I was like, I'll get my Green Lantern fix out of the main book. And I just did so happen to do that, like, right before the Rise of the Third Army, which none of that made sense because I wasn't getting Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There may be other news, but I didn't follow any of it. That was the big thing I saw, and I don't want to go into a lot of news because Chris McFeely is really better than that than I am. So
he's very good.
He is because he understands lots of stuff that I don't. Because I do other things. So, so there's the big things that I thought out of this week. Was important. Wow, DC, get your stuff together.
Get your act together, DC. I used to love you. You used to be my comic
we were
company.
Like this a couple years ago.
Oh my God, yeah.
Blackest Night, I was like, yeah.
Sinestro Corps War was
man.
I mean,
it's like...
They made Hal Jordan good again. I mean, Hal Jordan has never been good in the entire time I've been collecting comics. There's a reason why I like Kyle Rayner so good, because Hal Jordan was boring.
Yeah.
But they made him good again. I mean, come on, DC.
Yeah.
You used to be friends. I want to be friends again.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be
Why can't we be friends?
All right. So
it's karaoke time on Fanboy Versus.
Oh, man. Chris McFeely's just missing out, let me tell you. So, all right, let's get on to recommendations then. I'll go ahead and give you all a heads up. We are going to talk about More Than Meets the Eye at the end of the show. I didn't want to, not because I don't want to talk about the comic, but because I don't want to be all spoilery and stuff. But we're going to do it anyway, because I got outvoted and Chris McFeely wasn't here to, put his foot down.
It's such a
McFeely would have sided with Triplet and I.
No,
I think it's such a good and pivotal book, and like Nicole was saying, we haven't talked about More Than Meets the Eye in a while. We kind of don't have to.
I
we
promise you, Chris McFeely would not be siding with you all. He would be with me. But regardless, that's fine. We're going to talk about the end of the show.
We'll never know.
We'll know. He'll tell us when we talk to him next time. But anyway, so we'll talk about it at the end of the show. So that'll be all spoilery, so be prepared for that.
If
Anyway,
you haven't read it already, you should have read it.
yeah,
So,
you should have read it. So what?
You should have read it.
What the heck?
Yeah, because someone had the comic book over in the UK for nearly 20 minutes and spoiled the crap out of me.
Really?
Oh, really? Huh.
People
Yep.
gotta not do that. You know, I went
People-
Twitter dark until I
Yeah.
read it. It's like after Monday night, like we were in the middle of doing superhero time, and I was like, Twitter dark, done. Because I did not want that
Well,
to happen.
the thing is,
Yeah.
I was checking my Facebook page and my Twitter at 1 o'clock my time. That means someone had the comic for like only an hour in the UK, and they spoiled it for me.
Yep. Yeah, people,
Yep.
come on. Get it together here. A little courtesy.
Nobody likes spoilers.
That's right.
Except for the fact that we're probably going to spoil this book.
But we are, but it's
We're
been,
giving you fair warning.
in our defense, as thin as it has been a few days. So anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Chris Triplett, what do you got, sir? What's your recommendation then?
There was a lot of good books that came out this week, but yeah, I'm gonna recommend Superior Spider-Man because
Yeah, you are.
of course I am. Yeah, I like Spider-Man.
Whoa! Let me get my shock book on. No, wait. I make fun of you every time you review this, but it really is a good book.
I can't help it. I mean, it's such a good book.
And-
Like, okay, I'd understand if Dan Slott wasn't writing Spider-Man and we had like somebody else and we had like the dark days of Spider-Man, like the 90s.
Like,
I would understand. It's like, why is he talking about Spider-Man? But you know what? It's a good book, and like JD was pointing out, this is a pretty big turning point for Spidey in this issue. Also,
Oh yeah.
just to give a little bit of backstory, when they did Brand New Day, and they started like this whole new kind of introduction of Spidey, almost like a new universe. They introduced a whole lot of new characters that are like new villains for Spidey. One of them is actually in this issue. She's coming back in Screwball, and she's basically she's not really a villain. She's more like just sort of like this menace that just gets in his way every once in a while.
She's like one of those itches that you can't really scratch, you know?
Yeah, she's like a sort of like this minor celebrity that's famous for just doing like stupid stunts and then like videotaping it so that she can get hits like on YouTube or like whatever, like a video, like a viral video person. And in this issue, she returns, and the whole crux of the issue is basically she's playing pranks on people and then videoing it and getting like big hits. And then her other motive is that when people go to her site to see the video, she's actually stealing their information, like stealing identities and doing identity theft and stuff. The person she picks on in this issue is the Mayor Jonah Jameson, and in hysteric fashion. They basically throw a pie into Jameson's face, and they pants him so that he gets caught on video. And, like, of course, this is going to be a video that everybody's going to see because Jameson is such an ass.
yeah.
If anybody was to deserve this, it's Jameson. Oh my God, it's like they get like the biggest hits ever just because of this, and he doesn't like being made fun of. So of course, what's he gonna do? He's gonna call in his pal.
Now wait a minute. You can't say, of course, what is he gonna do? Because only in this new world would Jameson even think of calling Spider-Man.
I say, of course, what he's gonna do is because he's basically friends with Spider-Man.
It's like, what has happened?
It's so messy. Yeah, it's like we're in the world because they're like almost the best friends. I mean,
Spider-Man comes in and he's like, get this man a cup of coffee. Sit him down. All right, friend.
Otto still hates him, but Otto understands what public image is. He knows he wants the mayor on his side. So of course he's gonna take these people down.
Mm-hmm.
We start to get like little pieces of information where like this may be the first time, maybe in Avenging Spider-Man because I haven't been reading it, where we see the Avengers are starting to notice something's off with Spider.
Yeah, which was still a brilliant scene because they're all like, "What the f, man? He killed somebody. Like this is not cool." Yeah. Wolverine's like the voice of reason, who's like,
Yeah.
we kill people all the time. I killed somebody this morning. Like, really?
It's like Does anyone on our team not have blood on their hands? It's true. I mean, even
Spider-Woman
can't say that he doesn't have blood on his hands, as high-minded he is.
Spider-Woman decapitates people with her coffee. I mean, in the morning, it's like I don't, like really, we're gonna get our hackles up because Spider-Man killed some kind of mass murderer. Like Thor, you've killed armies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how many. Black Widow? Oh my god. So we're gonna say Spider-Man can't kill one dude?
It's like just one guy.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I thought it was pretty funny seeing Wolverine.
The voice of reason.
When Wolverine is your voice of reason.
When Wolverine's the voice of reason, you're living in a bizarre world.
Something's wrong.
But so yeah, they decide they're going to watch him, and
boy, they get an eyeful.
Oh yeah, it's great how the issue just kind of ends with he thinks he's going to take these two pranksters down, and they wind up deciding that he's going to be their next prank. That Spidey's going to be it.
The interesting thing about this issue, and I don't want and I'm kind of holding what completely goes down, but is that I saw where it was going pretty early on.
Yeah.
And it was almost difficult to read. And I kind of tweeted about it too, because it's just like you're
you
watching.
Mean at the end of it?
I knew where it was getting to about halfway through, but it was difficult in a sense to watch because, and this is the brilliance again of Dan Slott, where and I was trying to explain this to someone at my shop. They're like, "Oh, well, I'm not reading Superior Order." It's like you're missing out.
He's really missing out, yeah.
Because not only does Dan Slott really love and appreciate Spider-Man, but he also has a great appreciation for Doc Ock. And you see that human side of Doc Ock here and how just a little bit of twist, can completely change a person, a character, whatever. Yeah. And so you know where this is going, but you have to keep reading it, and you keep moving towards that moment at the end when you're just like, oh, I get it, but I don't want it,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, what's great about the issue is it's another great example of how Peter and Otto took the two different paths. Peter, he had the living family that taught him, with great power is, great. You must have great responsibility. You shouldn't use that power to hurt people. And Otto, he didn't have that lesson.
Nope.
He didn't. He had the quick little.
He had might makes right
memory stuff that popped up in his head. He had the little talk with Peter, in 700. But he did not have the years growing up. He didn't have the Uncle Ben. He didn't have the Aunt May.
Yeah.
And it plays out that way. He just like same things happened to him that happened to Peter. He got picked on in high school when he was a kid.
Yep.
But now he's got the power, and when someone didn't learn...
Well, I guess you guys should also mention the other character that's been bullied in this comic. What's her name?
Oh, yeah. This new character they're going to introduce like in the last issue.
Is her name Maria? Is it Maria?
Maria? Yeah.
Anna Maria, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's another one of Slott's great characters where it's like she's a fully fleshed out, complete, interesting person that also happens to be a little person. And that's it. Like, it's like, this is probably made more of a deal than Modell, being gay. But it kind of feels like it's in the same vein, too. You know what I mean? It's just like, and you can even tell that, like, Otto's actually very attracted to this woman as well.
Yeah, he's really grown quite fond of her. Like,
I think it's because he relates to her in a lot of ways.
Sure. Yeah.
And because, she's very intelligent. She's like tutoring and helping him, and like he respects intelligence. I mean, she surprised him, and he doesn't get surprised very often.
Yep.
So it was a great issue, and I guess we won't spoil exactly what happens at the end, but when he does come after these guys, these jokers that are doing these things, the joke comes on to Spider-Man, onto Otto, and he's not as forgiving.
Yeah.
And this leads into where we're going next and what the Avengers are going to have to now do with Spider-Man.
Yep.
And it's interesting territory. I'm excited to see where this going. I know, talking to McFeely, that it kind of sounds like maybe Superior Spider-Man's not going to be around much longer. That maybe the end is coming sooner than we think.
I hope not, because I really love this Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would like to at least get 12 issues out of this. I would
for sure.
Yeah, before we switch back to Peter, because it's been really interesting. I don't want it to overstay its welcome, but I do want to get maybe just a little bit more out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it continues to be a great book. There's no reason not to get this book.
Was it rumors that was only going to be 8 issues? Is that right?
So he said something about number 8 or 9 has the cover. It says Superior Spider-Man No More, which was kind of leading us to think that maybe this will be ending sooner than we think.
Oh,
Because
man, I'm just really
thinking maybe 2 years or something. They'll probably wait. I was thinking personally they'll wait till Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes back, the movie, and then we'll for Amazing Spider-Man 2 we'll get Peter back, of course, because you kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm so glad I started reading Spider-Man when I did, because this is so good.
It continues to be a great book. Highly recommended. Yeah. Totally check it out.
Cool. Excellent. Well then, Nicole?
Right, well, I'm going to be talking about a new number 1 that came out this week. It's called Memorial. It's by IDW. It's written by Chris Robertson, art by Rich Ellis, and colors by Grace Allison. So that is the team on this. Now, it's a pretty... for one issue, there is a lot of information that comes in here, and I'm going to try to explain it to you. So, basically what happens to the reality world and the world of imagination. What happens when they come on, collide together? So, you have a talking cat. You have a named Schrodinger, which I think is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like the Jiminy Cricket. He's the consciousness of the group. You have M, who doesn't realize who she is. She can't remember, but she has this magic key that opens portals. That's like a entryway between the two worlds. You also have this family that has... It started off with the grandmother of this family when she was little. She used to make drawings with this pencil marker, and she used to draw things on her mirror, and that's how she was able to go into this imaginary world where she met Knox, which was this dragon that you see on the cover. And so now these worlds are colliding together, and the grandchild of this woman has been kidnapped by... They're called the Friends, but they're not really friendly. And she's out in the middle of kind of like a limbo, and they're requesting her to do something, but she doesn't know what they want her to do because they're mistaking this grandchild for the grandmother who used to go into this world and create things. It's a very, very creative book. Like I said, it's a lot of details, great characters. I'm like, come on, the cat, Schrodinger. He's so cute. And Nox is this magical dragon that comes to life. And so, like I said, there's more. I can't really talk about it because it's hard to explain. You just got to go and read it. So it's very imaginative. There we go. Got it. And you get to know this family, and you feel sorry for them, and you're rooting for them because they are kind of split up and torn apart within the story, and you just want to root for them to come together and find everything, but you also want them to go into this world and explore all the new adventures. And so there's some really great art in here, and I could see like many different stories branching out to it. So come on, you've got Schrodinger's cat.
Totally need to name my next cat Schrodinger.
Yes, exactly. But it's really creative. If you've ever wanted to know what would happen to our world if everything that you thought of came to life, your world of imagination, what if it was real in another world? Almost kind of like a never-ending story kind of feel. So, yeah, it's really creative. It's really fun. Highly recommend it. I'm definitely going to get the next one. It's really cool.
Who publishes this one? Is this
It's
Image?
IDW.
IDW, okay.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, most kids had imaginary friends or had wild imaginations. What if it came true? So, there you go. I loved it. It was awesome.
Neat.
Cool.
Very quick and sweet. There you go.
Sweet. All right. Well, then we are taking a break, and we will be right back.
Wow, that was quite a workout. I could use a snack.
You are getting to be an expert at karate. Now it is time to become an expert at choosing snacks. Fresh fruit is an energy snack that tastes good. It has a lot of important nutrients and vitamins that your body needs to stay in good shape.
This is really good.
And it is good for you.
Superhero time. Power Rangers, Masked Rider, Super Sentai, and lots of burning justice. Check out Superhero Time at tfradio.net. Superhero Time. Here we go.
And we are back. So I will be starting off the second half. I'm going to run through a few things. One thing is basically a mention for Chris McFeely and a preview for him for next week because we're going to force him to talk about Action Comics.
Yeah, I would love to talk about Action Comics, but I feel like I can't do it justice.
I know, it's like, I feel like a child sort of trying to understand how the universe works.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, those are my toes as I read this, because it's just like, it's
like I'm trying to read War for Peace, War and Peace, and like I need like the big time literature professor to explain it to me or something. So that's why we go to McFeely to tell us what actually happened to this comic. I know what happened, but you tell me what really happened.
I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, as best as I can understand, you know, this is the final battle with Vindictivix, but it's not. It's really interesting because it's almost from Vindictivix's point of view, because as Superman points out in this, really we're seeing several different battles that Superman has with him.
Yeah, it's the multiple timelines. You know, he's been attacked at different timelines. Yeah,
but for Vindictivix, and this ends up being the big twist, the big turn, is that it's really only one event for him. Yeah. And it's how that plays out that's so amazing. Because if I'm understanding what is happening correctly, then it makes the fifth dimension seem really awesome and wacky and crazy. And I love the little bit at the end. I mean, we get red-blue Superman in this, for God's sake.
Yeah, I saw that.
Red-blue Superman.
It's like, JD's gonna love this.
That is insane. I love it. Oh, Morrison, you crazy, insane bastard.
You've just left, and we miss you already. My God.
Oh, man. And then there's a great little kind of post-story here that's very, very little dialogue. And really, it's not even any dialogue.
The fish story, yeah, that was good.
It's basically all lines from Superman stuff, and some of it may be from the future, or some of it may be past stuff, but
some of it's from like the movies.
Some of it's from like the movies, but it seems, you know, it's all like, you know, Last Son of Krypton, Man of Tomorrow, Long Live the Legion.
When you get the comment where it says, "You've got me, who's got you?" I was like, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that, and the other one, you know, of course, Neil, like, oh,
Neil, yeah.
You know. So, anyway, it's basically this story that kind of takes place in a little bit of the Superman Museum in the future, but it's great. I mean, it's a great end to this run. It's very interesting. It has definitely set up. What's interesting is that even though this is sort of like an introduction of the fifth dimension, it's really kind of set up that, you know, a future creator, writer, whatever, if they want to take off with, you know, the Mr. Mxyzptlk stuff, they totally can, because that's, you know, basically set up here. So
yeah, interesting.
But anyway, we'll have Chris McFeely decipher that for us hopefully next week. If not in just the pre-show, if not what he talks about in full.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll want to talk about it.
Two things I want to mention real quick too is that, dear God, if you're not reading any of the either just a vanilla Avengers or New Avengers, dear God, you should get on. Because, man, New Avengers I'll talk about first. This is the collapsing world story.
I read this one.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because they're trying to come up with different solutions. Basically, they're individually almost coming up with different solutions to this sort of problem of, destroy another world, or what do we do? And I love Tony's solution because he's like, I would just make a Dyson sphere. And it's like, because that's the thing that you can do if like you're a super genius and you have tons of money and resources. Build a Dyson sphere. If you're not familiar with the Dyson sphere, it's a concept of actually encapsulating, part of a solar system or a star inside the sphere, and then you can sort of harness the energy from it indefinitely. Yeah, gives you a lot of power.
Why did I think of that? Jeez.
So yeah, but anyway, Doc Strange is dealing in dark magic. There's all kinds of scary different things that they're coming up with.
There's it's beginning to look like, a bunch of these guys aren't going to make it.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna either be sacrifice or there's gonna be people left behind. Because like a lot of their plans hinge on them going to the other world, to the other universe, and being there to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and then of course, at the end, then Galactus.
Galactus, but is it Galactus?
Well, it's Galactus. It's this
I was
other
gonna ask you
universe's
that.
Galactus.
Was that misspelling first to say, this really isn't our Galactus?
It's
another Galactus.
The Illuminati hop over to the other Earth that's appeared in the sky, basically, and so this is basically this universe's version of Galactus, and it's Galactus's herald that they're talking with as well. So it's not this universe's Galactus, but it is a Galactus.
And that looks like Terex, who's his herald.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he's still Terex. Maybe he's Terex with a K. Maybe he's Carex.
What?
Carex?
So, but I love this conversation because he's like, look, Galactus is helping you out, so you can either choose to, let him do his thing, or you can try to fight. Or you can, fight me if you want. It's kind of futile, and so they fight him.
Fight.
Okay, there you go. So that's great, and then Avengers as well. We're digging more into this Star brand that we talked about last week, which was just great. And if nothing else, I love it for just the crossover stuff because there's one part in here where like Tony puts a universal tracker on Night Mask, or the kid. I can't remember one or the other. And so they're trying to find like where they're at, and he's like, well, as long as they're in the universe, I can find them. And Banner's sort of like, really? Like, that seems a little odd for your kind of tech. He's like, oh, yeah, I got it from Reed. And Banner's like, he started to ask the question, like, why would Reed give that? And why do you even need that? And he just kind of goes on, because it's like, we'll just gloss over that you might need that if you're an Illuminati and you're, working on trying to save the universe at the same time. So, but wouldn't you know it, we wrap back around to some more stuff at the end of this issue. So, man, Avengers is really great. It's definitely coming around.
I'm glad it's as good as we were hoping because, we really didn't know. I mean, him and was hitting it out of the ballpark with Fantastic Four, and you never know. It could have been like lightning in a bottle or something. But I'm glad that it still is awesome. I mean, it's still like you're getting pieces. And it's like things aren't all together yet, and it's going to be one of those deals where you're probably going to have to have the whole run for things to make sense. But you can see things coming a year from now. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, totally. So there you go. So there's my recommends. Get that stuff. So,
Avengers
is good. I like it. Nobody's sitting around eating breakfast.
Yeah.
And talking. Making funny
Yet.
jokes. Yeah.
Have no time for that.
Really.
We got to save the world.
Big stuff going on, kids. So. All right, well then, let's do it. Let's move towards the end of the show. Again, this is going to be spoilery. We're going to be talking about More Than Meets the Eye. So if you haven't read it, stop the tape. And stop
the cassette.
Okay.
Stop your cassette.
Yeah.
Just don't fast forward or anything. Anyway.
Don't rewind it either.
Right. Use the little pen
See what
to.
I see there?
Yeah.
See what I see? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. When last we left our hero, Chrome Dome was in a world of shit because he's locked in a room that was only going to take him about 5 seconds to get out of, except there's time dilation involved, and so it's going to be more like 30 minutes with Overlord on the other side of the wall. And it's really great because they just recap that a little bit and don't waste any time. I mean, you turn the page and it's a 2-page spread of pandemonium, dogs and cats living together as Overlord is just smashing everybody. He's taking on like the entire crew of the Lost Light, and it's bad. It's basically bad. So we jump back a little bit to when Overlord first popped out.
When Overlord's involved, nothing really does come out good, does it?
No, not really. So we pop back, and there's a little piece here where Whirl and Blaster are using the anti-asteroid missiles, and Whirl's, of course, getting his itchy trigger finger scratched as he's getting to blow stuff up. And he's like, I haven't blown anything up, and it's been days.
You don't want Whirl to have an itchy trigger finger.
Oh, no. But I love this a little bit, though, because Pipes walks out. He's like, hey, Blaster.
You love this bit?
I do. It's hilarious. I mean, it's just kind of funny to me. It's Pipes' bit before the thing, you know.
Yeah.
So Pipes just comes up to Blaster. He's like, hey, so were you able to get the, comm links back online or anything? And he's like, again, no. He's like, okay, well, I'd like to send another message if I could, and, so he's like, sets this message for Hubcap. He's probably sent like 500 different times, who knows. And so he drives, he transforms and rolls off, and right under the foot of Overlord, and gets smooshed like a bug. Yeah.
That scene is so sad.
It is,
like he gets smashed, and then the next page, it's basically he's kind of going in and out of trying, like he's freaking out and he's thinking about the message that he's sending.
Yeah. So he kind of goes back and forth. His spark is shrinking, which is a sign that he's dying, basically.
He's like, wonderful time, made lots of, speak soon, can't speak, concentrate. Falling out. So he's like kind of reliving that last moment in his head.
Well, he's also trying to save himself, and you're just like...
but he does manage to hit the alarm, so that's good. Yeah. At least. And then we get another, basically, a moment or jump back. And I love this thing where it's like, Rewind's going to Brainstorm because, of course, unknown to Rewind, Brainstorm and Drift and Chrome Dome all know about Overlord being at the bottom of the ship, and I guess Chrome Dome's been saying Brainstorm's name in his sleep, and I love Brainstorm's response, and he's like, because he tells us, he's like, Rewind's like, well, because he's been saying your name in his sleep, and he's like, whoa, more embarrassed, you or me? Clue, it's you.
He does the trigger fingers.
Yeah.
I love it. The trigger fingers.
I love it. And he's like, and so he makes the comment too. He's like, so we're involved in some kind of big, conspiracy thing just because of that. And he's like, well, I didn't think so until now, actually. Meanwhile, Swerve sets off a, what is this called? What does he call it?
It's an abstraction.
A metafictional bomb.
A metafictional bomb.
Fourth wall.
Which blows up the fourth wall.
And JD apparently has blamed me for this.
Because I think with Nicole's little Deadpool and Swerve avatar here, I think she gave him the idea to have him start breaking the fourth wall, which is exactly what starts happening.
Because I have Deadpool and Pinkie Pie, and they were known to break the fourth wall, and so I have Swerve in my little avatar. Yeah. It's just fitting. See, I gave him the idea.
And then the last panel is the alarms going off again. And then we have like another motif. So there's basically like several different motifs. There's like Hot Rod and Perceptor talking about stuff. There's Rung and Fort Max. And then there's a nice little hilarious bit where Tailgate has signed him and Cyclonus up to do movie night.
Cyclonus is happy.
Yeah, and Cyclonus is not really excited about that.
I love these little bots like Rewind, Swerve, Tailgate. They're all so much fun.
Totally.
I liked the lead ups. I liked how it's like this is what everybody was doing 30 minutes before everything went to shit.
Basically,
you know, and they were basically just living their lives. Just things were just going on. You know,
well, and that's a lot of what's happened. I think in the series for the most part, there's been a lot of just these connective moments between big events, and so. I think that
look at the moment, just the 3 panels of Rung and Fort Max together.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, oh.
So anyway, so now we're basically into the med bay here, and Overlord starts his onslaught. It's Drift and Red Alert at first before basically everybody.
That's
shows
Ratchet,
up.
isn't it?
I'm sorry, Ratchet. Duh.
Yeah, Red Alert's like.
I don't know what I was saying. Anyway,
Red Alert.
it was it's Ratchet and Drift, and Drift makes comment about his sword protecting him, and well, it becomes it's is that my faith will protect me. And he's like, well, my faith and my sword. And Ratchet is like, no, your faith and your sword and your friend, buddy. I'm not going to go anywhere. So
the thing is, those two have been clashing heads for a while, so it's good to hear that.
I mean, I think there's a good camaraderie between them in that respect. I think they respect each other.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like there's animosity. I don't think
they just have like huge disputes over
religion. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So so the first thing that happens is Ultra Magnus gets into like an all-out brawl. I mean, he just starts punching the crap out of Overlord. You know, gets a few good hooks, and then finally like Overlord grabs his hand and he starts laughing. He's like, "What are you laughing at?" And he's like, "Well." And he says something else to him here, and he's like, "But really, it's more that you've been holding back, or you've been giving everything, and I've been holding back." And he punches him through the gut.
Yeah,
he punches him. No, he punches through him.
That's what I said. He punches him through the gut. Yeah, hand all the way through the chest. And I mean, basically, where we leave Ultra Magnus, we don't see him again after this, but. First Aid is working on him, but his spark is shrinking, and he says about the best they could hope to do is slow the process, but that's pretty much irreversible at this point. So that's where we leave Ultra Magnus. I
know. It took me a while just to look at this page.
Yeah,
it's just that one splash page. You're just like, no, not like this.
So from here,
any other interpretation of Ultra Magnus, I wouldn't have cared as much for him to die. But like this version of him, we've grown so attached to him. Mm-hmm. You know, him being just the stiff upper lip guy, and it's like all the jokes about it would probably save the universe if you would smile, but then again, it's Ultra Magnus, so he's not going to smile. Stuff like that.
And then we had that issue two issues ago where you actually seen him kind of let down his guard a little bit. And, get a little loosened up, and you're just like, oh.
I like this little bit between Cyclonus and Rewind right here, too, where Cyclonus is like, look, we're all piling on, we need to be pulling back and be strategic, and Rewind's like, it's not going to matter, he can't be killed. Cyclonus is like, look, everything can die, believe me. Yeah. I know. And you're like, yeah, he would know.
Reading this, I was thinking that Cyclonus is going to be like the guy that's maybe going to take him down, but like he's going to go down with him or something.
That's
we were talking a while back, like like which characters aren't going to make it, and we kind of like had our picks and stuff. And when I was when you're reading this, like you're thinking, oh god, don't let this guy die, don't let this guy die. Yeah. Oh god, this guy's giving a speech.
Yeah,
he's going down.
That's going to be it. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
It's just like
each panel. With each panel, you're like, okay, is this the last we're going to see of him? Is this it?
You never know. Yeah. It's always like those movies too. It's always the guy though that's why it's like you knew it had to be pipes right off the bat, because as soon as somebody starts talking about home and family and kids, it's all over, man.
Yeah, like
when that guy's like, "Oh, my baby was born last month. I can't see him yet. I get home and I get off tour in 3 weeks, and I'm gonna go see my baby." I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna die, dude."
all Pipes had to say was 2 days till retirement.
Yeah, yeah. It's like he might as well put a big red bullseye. It's just like that's it, man. Game over.
No,
So,
I honestly thought Cyclonus was going to be the one.
yeah, I thought that might happen too, but I still think there's a lot of story left there. But
Yeah, there is. I'm pretty sure there is.
So I love the bits with Rodimus too. He cracks me up. He's like, "Oh, you like needle fingers?" Like, yeah, I was gonna do that, but you know, I
Give me
passed.
drills.
Yeah. But anyway, so they stick Fort Max on him because they do.
Of
If
course.
someone Fort Max deserves his revenge.
Oh man, he totally does. They also introduced in here one of the first. We're going to be introduced to a series of outs, as I'm going to call them. The first is going to be Drift's sword, which got mentioned earlier as being something that can protect you. It's like a faith weapon thing that Drift uses. The second is that when Chrome Dome was entering Overlord's mind, he entered in basically a mnemonic device where when Overlord hears something, it basically has like an adverse effect on him. Kind of acts like a stun. Which the phrase, of course, is "till all are one," because as they've established, Rodimus says that all the time. So
I love that so much.
So it's guaranteed that if things went to shit, Rodimus at some point would say "till all are one," and that would buy him some time. Now he does say that the effect will diminish over time. So that may still be an out, but we'll get to why we need the out here in a minute. If you've already read this, you know why. But so anyway, so they leave a lot of punching and they decide to retreat. Now, Chrome Dome's idea here is basically to lure Overlord basically back into the cell, and then jettison the cell with Overlord inside, and then they'll be safe. And the problem is that the door won't close. The door won't close because Drift's sword is stuck in the door, and the door's already started to close. So the only person that can fit through is Rewind. Now, mind you, as we established earlier in this issue, Rewind became painfully privy to this whole Overlord thing and exactly what Chrome Dome's role in it was, and he even made the comment that he didn't think he could forgive him. Like, this was just, a big deal, a big breach of trust for Rewind. And so the sword is stuck, and Rewind goes through, pulls the sword out. Well, Chrome Dome, not thinking really, has his arm through the gap in the door, and the door shuts and cuts his arm off.
Oh, God.
Yeah, in the door.
But the thing is, that's not the most painful moment for him. It's coming.
No, what's coming is they're on either side of the doorway, and they're trying to say things to each other. And, I mean, you get both sides of the conversation because you hear one or the other, but you don't really... I mean, well, I guess you miss a little bit of Chrome Dome's.
I think you missed a little bit of Chrome Dome's. Yeah, because, like, he stops, he says, "Rewind, and then he can't hear him,
So anyway, and the last image you see of Rewind is him turning, and there's Overlord. And then the pod gets jettisoned from the bottom of the ship. Chrome Dome goes running, and he runs up to the anti-asteroid control, and of course, I guess Blaster's up there, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, Rewind stuck in there with Overlord. I'm doing the only thing I can do, and he destroys the pod.
That was so heartbreaking.
Now, on the Meet the Crew panel, on the last page, we have 3 characters X'd out. It's Pipes, it's Ultra Magnus, and it's Rewind.
Yeah.
Now, my take, I think Ultra Magnus is dead. I think he'll, finally pass the end of next issue. I think we'll see that at the first part of the next issue, and then we'll deal with and we already know from the preview page that they're going to be dealing with, like, the memorial and burying or whatever of the dead. So we know that's going to be dealt with in the next issue. I really don't think Rewind is dead.
I could see them saving him. I could see something happening with that, but like you were saying, you think he's going to be there Next issue, I don't think he's going to be there.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, my thought
I
is
think
next
Rewind's
issue.
safe. I think Rewind's safe.
I think he is too. I think there's enough outs.
Yeah.
I think between the sword, between the possibility that the time dilation effect and the pod could be reversed. I mean, there's all kinds of weird little tricks that it could be switched. Now, those could all be red herrings.
It could be that we think that he's safe. It could be that, oh God, wouldn't they be bastards if they did this? He's not safe, but there's a way for him to come back only to die again.
No, and that could totally happen.
That could still totally happen
could still
because of the
totally
whole
happen.
time thing. And they could just be bastards. You know,
Yeah.
it's like we had Spock die in Star Trek 2. Guess what? Spock gets to die again. You know?
Yeah, they bring Spock back and they kill him again. Yeah, totally. That could happen. So, I don't know. I mean, it's a great issue. It's not I mean, it's odd. It's like, I don't know what I was expecting. It wasn't the blow me away kind of, wow. I mean, this is always the transitional deal. Like, I expect the next issue to be really difficult. I expect the next issue to be really hard. Because it's always like...
this one wasn't? Oh,
it wasn't
my gosh.
it wasn't as emotionally impactful. It was dramatic. But I
thought that last page did me in. Like,
that was hard, but I think I'll have more trouble in the next issue when it's like we're really dealing with everybody and picking up the pieces.
Yeah.
That's going to be the hard one. It's just like death. This kind of felt, in a way, it's almost like I talked about Damien dying. It's like when it initially happens, you're more shocked than you are. It's like that initial shock, and the next issue will be getting over the shock and trying to deal with it. So I think the next issue will be a lot harder than this one, but I don't know. I think Rewind could come back as early as the very, very end of the next issue. No explanation, just him waving it from an outside porthole would be the most.
I think the smartest thing to do is, like, you don't want to cheapen the end of this issue. So for him to come back in the next issue would do that. I think it's a couple of issues down the road. It's like maybe like 6 or 7 issues or something. He comes back, and either he comes back or it's, I was saying, something else happens, and oh shit, it has to happen again.
I don't know. I still think Ultra Magnus dying is pretty impactful.
Yeah, I think Ultra Magnus is basically going to be, is the one that's going to be dead. I agree with you on that. Yeah, and of course, Pipes is totally dead. This time, poor Pipes has had the worst life of any Transformer. All the shit he's had to put up with, and yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, I mean,
it's over for Pipes.
Yeah, there's not much.
Pipes isn't coming back, that's for sure.
He's not coming back.
No, he's gone.
Pipes will probably
it's sad because Pipes was one of my very first Transformers I ever bought.
Really?
It was like Beachcomber was my first, and I think Pipes was either like my second or third.
Wow.
I think Pipes will wind up being this cautionary tale. It's like, your life is bad, but at least you're not Pipes.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could be Pipes.
Could be worse. You could have got sick and got hurt, got shot by Fortress Maximus, or stomped on by Overlord, and died. And you could be Pipes, but you're not. Yeah. So just try to be positive.
No, the reason why I think Rewind is still safe is because he still has that one story he needs to tell. You know that story? He's like, I can't share this one. He's got to tell that story before he dies. That's
why I was shocked that they let him die. But yeah, when he's got this out, I think he's going to be back. But I don't know if he's going to be back. Like we think he's going to be back.
Well, because like with Rewind, we haven't dealt with whatever the other thing is that Chrome Dome did that he's trying to keep from Rewind that came up in one of the spotlights, I think. There's another thing that Chrome Dome did that he's trying to keep from Rewind. And, that hasn't paid off yet. So there's
I think that's what he was trying to tell him there at the end.
Maybe, but,
He might have been, just trying to confess and say, like, this is what's been going on. But I love just the imagery of, like, this last 2 pages where the door closes and it cuts his arm off, and then Rewind dies. I just love that. It's his best friend in all the world. He just him losing his arm. Just the way that you feel pain and the way that it's just projecting it to you. It's like that's just really well done. I don't even know how to put that into words.
This was an excellent issue. Excellent issue. And the thing is, they had a whole bunch of people working on this.
Well, and
I mean, the inks and the colors, a lot of people helped with it. And
I think another thing too is that we're not done with Overlord yet either. And
oh no.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's going to be a whole other deal. Is that I don't think we're done with Overlord yet. So
yeah,
that is going to be something else to deal
Well,
with.
like they said, they're practically indestructible.
Yeah, the what do they call them?
Sixers? What crap? What are they called?
It is something
People in the chat,
Sixers, isn't it?
We don't have our McFeely brain with us.
Yeah.
If I had the last issue, I could tell you, but
Yeah,
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, they the whatever they are, they
Phase Sixers?
Phase Sixers, yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. They're tough to kill. So yeah. So anyway, so there you go. Have fun with that, kids. I don't read the boards or anything, but I can imagine that whatever crackpot theory we've come up with for Rewind, that there are more insane theories going around for everybody. I even heard that some people were like, I mean, it's like, I'm not saying we're not mournful for Pipes, but I'm like, it's Pipes. I mean, let's, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Pipes is almost like a non-character in the comic, but like I was telling you, that page when he's dying.
Sure.
Those 6 panels, I was like, oh, God, this is so sad, and you kind of feel sorry for him.
I mean, of course you do, but I'm saying it's like, I'm not going to lose sleep over Pipes dying, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to happen.
It's kind of cool the way they do it, because they kind of like they set him up like, oh, maybe we're going to get Pipe's story. Maybe he's going to start being a character, and he's going to be more than this punching bag.
Nope.
From the page.
Nope. Nope. Punching bag.
Punching bag. Yeah.
But, anyway, so there you go. Enjoy that.
If you guys aren't reading this, why?
You should be.
Finally,
That's great stuff. Even if you're not,
like we said, we can finally say this is a good comic, not just a good Transformers comic.
Yeah,
it's a good
comic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's in my top 4, and God, I'd buy a lot of comics.
Easily.
So that says something.
Yep. So cool. All right. Well, yeah, that's it. That's the show. Go to the website, fanboyversus.com. You can check us out live every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT. You can also follow us on Twitter at FanboyVS. Yeah, so check all that out. So that's it. That's the show. For myself, for Chris Triplett, for Nicole Hale, and Chris McFeely, who's not here this week, thanks for tuning in, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.